Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Chasing Collectibles Catchup. I'm Tyler,
I'm Tim.
I'm Lauren.
and we are fresh off of our first appearance at a comic convention as dealers. So, how are we doing, guys?
Doing well.
Doing really good out here.
Still recovering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was brutal. On our feet for 7 hours or so. Up at 5 a.m. Ouch.
So we went to the Lincolnton Be a Hero comic convention. That was last Saturday, the 23rd, and you kind of forget because we've helped out Nick in the past doing shows, but you forget how long you're on your feet for what I guess the show starts at 10, but we were up and about since 5, and then wrapped up at 4, and it was a pretty good show. So Tim, why don't you start us off? What'd you think?
I think it was great. It was definitely a lot of people there that were interested in what we were selling, our books and toys. And that's always a good thing. And people just talk and shop with us.
Yeah.
And that was excellent. Going back on what you had just said, I mean, being up at just 5 o'clock, it was just also just a preparation, the days leading up to that show, that we were really hunkering down on getting everything together and sorting and planning and meeting, and it's been a really good experience.
Yep. I like you said, with the it was weeks of bagging and boarding and alphabetizing and pricing and just marking everything, making sure everything was set in stone. Make sure you have everything. We went and purchased a couple of things beforehand to stock up, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to try to find some more for the next couple of shows that we have. But man, it was brutal getting up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Running up there, but we had a blast. I think one of the things that stood out for me was, after we were set up, we had the opportunity to wander around and visit with the other vendors. And the thing I noticed first was there wasn't anybody selling comics. It was just us, really. There was maybe 1 or 2 tables that had 2 or 3 boxes, and I was like, uh-oh, if people are here to buy comics, I think we're it. So that was advantageous for us. It's not going to be that way next show, because everybody's going to have comics, but I think we're going to have some good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know Beardy Weirdy, I always struggle to say the name. Beardy Weirdy was represented there, but they were actually they kind of had their show stock, I think, split because there were 2 shows going on at once for them. They had representation at one, and then the one that we were at, they kind of had some of their smaller stuff. But yeah, that was kind of neat. Looking at our stock, and I'll include a picture when we put the video out. But looking at our stuff, I mean, it did look legit. I thought, we had a nice little setup there.
It looked pro. It looked good. Almost kind of like we knew what we were doing a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think our audience, who I know we all kind of goof around a lot, but you might be surprised to know, we were talking about like the prep for this. We had a legit Zoom call where we had like notes out, and we're having a business discussion, which is very rare for us. Making sure we were all ready. We were making check marks, and Lauren was taking notes. Tim was. It was like, whoa, are we acting like a real business for a second?
I think Tim had brought up something that probably saved the day. He asked if I had a square reader, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
yes, actually I do. I hadn't even thought of it. Didn't even enter my mind. My mind was comics, pricing, alphabetize.
Could you imagine if we had remembered that? Oh man.
Yeah, that would have been. We would have had to send people out to the ATM.
Yeah. Well,
but it was very a great asset. So thanks to Square.
Yeah, and it was a relatively smaller show. I do want to give a shout out to the organizers. It was I think it was pretty well run. They helped us out. Once we got there, very clear about where to set up, and communicated well. And even though Lincolnton, it's a smaller part of North Carolina, I thought it was a pretty well attended show for based on where it was. It was a steady stream of
Yep.
people from about 10 to 4, so
Mhm.
not bad on
It
that front.
sounded like talking to a couple of the other vendors, it's something that has been going on
Mhm.
annually and hasn't been there for the last 2 years. So I think people were excited to come out and see what was
Yeah.
happening in their community.
And we had lots of books there. We had sets, we had regular price books, we had some slabs. We also had lots of dollar books, and those
Yeah.
are pretty popular too. And what was kind of cool for that I enjoyed seeing was there was a lot of younger people there at the show, because it was out of high school, and a lot of them were like taking advantage of our good deals and picking up like entire runs of newer comics, which is kind of cool to see. Younger people getting into comics.
Yep,
Yeah.
they're the ones that are going to keep it going in the future. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. We need the younger people keep
Mhm.
things going.
Yep. Yep, that's true. Well, I'm
Those
definitely
whippers-
looking forward to the next show, which is coming up very, very soon. It'll be here in a snap. So that's Tyler, why don't you tell us when that's going to be?
Yes, so we've got the Charlotte Comic Con on August 7th. That is in Concord. So we're excited for that one as well. And then we've also got,
Bringing the A game.
yes, bringing the A game, right? We'll put some new stuff in our in there that wasn't there for the last show. And now we know how to set up, right? We've done the setup, so we know what to do.
Yeah.
And then we've also got 2 more shows scheduled. We've got on September 3rd, the Rock Hill Comic Con, and then on October 16th, the Clemens Vintage Mini Comic Con, which we actually went earlier in this year. Tim and I went to that show, which is run by Larry, and so it'd be cool to be there as vendors now.
All right, Larry Allen. He puts on a great show.
Mhm.
And he does so many prizes and just a constant interacting with the people that are there. It's a lot of fun the way he does it.
Mhm.
If you've never been to one of Larry's shows, I would highly recommend any collector in the Carolina area, or within the vicinity, to go check it out.
So
It's
no,
up by Raleigh, I think, right? In that general area, Raleigh.
It's slightly, I would say, what is it, like Lake Norman area?
it's kind of past there. I know I'm a geography teacher, but I got to look into it, right? I couldn't tell you exactly. I'm sorry, Larry. I don't know exactly where Clemens is right now, but it is in North Carolina. I can say that it is north of Charlotte, and that's what we call relative location, boys and girls. There's relative location and absolute location, right? Absolute location is your coordinates. Relative is saying this is north of something. So I'm giving you the relative location. So the quiz is next week.
I wish I had a straw and a spit wad. Boink.
Were you the one were you sent to detention, Lauren, when you were in school? Were you rebellious?
Nope.
You were the good kid.
Hmm.
Well, before we move on from shows, so Tim and Lauren, since you guys are the ones kind of in charge of our show stock, are there any previews you can give for the nice people about what they could expect for us to be bringing at these shows?
Oh yeah, go for it.
I am working on some couple more sets, but more 80s books, just some really cool covers, some well-known covers I'm looking to bring, and that's pretty much all, just refreshing the stock, adding some more $3 and $5 books to those bins there. And I would probably look at some key books. I'm adding to our stuff that we have a lot of movies coming up. A lot of previews we've seen from San Diego Comic-Con, including Namor and Black Panther and She-Ra. I mean, She-Ra.
She-Hulk.
Shuri.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Shuri.
Yeah.
So I would definitely be adding, some of that stuff to our stock,
Yep. We're definitely replenished a little bit. I wound up restocking my dollar books and accidentally made another box. So we have an extra box of dollar books. So that'll help out the fans that like digging through those boxes. We've put books in there that are not dollar boxes or dollar worthy. They're actually probably upwards of 5 to 7 to 10 maybe.
There's gold in them.
You're
There's
gonna
gold
find
in
some
them hills.
surprises.
Yeah.
You'll definitely find surprises.
When we were, I'm sorry, but when we were at the last show, one of the you talk about surprises. One of the young guys picked up a Black Panther variant cover book that I had thrown into that dollar bin. Just not really thinking about it, just picking up a stack of books like, I'm just gonna throw these in here. And then when he picked up the book, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's like a $15-$20 book there. And I'm like, well,
Yeah, he found it. Yeah.
That's the name of the game.
Yeah. Well, I will
pays to go hunting.
I will say something unique about our dollar books is I think we also have a fair amount of not only, there's a fair amount, I'd say 80s, 90s, kind of like 2000 stuff in there as well. But there's also some newer stuff in there too. We've got some relatively newer books from I'd say about 2018 onward, from DC and Marvel. And so if you come to the con and I know a lot of people come to cons looking to buy, older stuff, more vintage stuff. But if you want to pick up some new stuff and try something out, we've also got lots of that. So I think we offer some cool stuff.
The last show that we had a whole bunch of sets. This time I've reduced it down to some more of the relevant sets that I took last time. I've got a bunch of Star Wars sets. We've got some Black Panther sets. So yeah, we definitely have some good stuff to look through. We have all kinds of individually priced books. They're all alphabetical, so it'll be easy to go through it for you guys. The dollar books, however, are not necessarily alphabetical, although looking through what I was doing, I was able to put them into a decent alphabetical order. So you should be able to find what you're looking for relatively quickly. And like I said, there's gold in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the dollar bins, when I was younger and even still now, that's a lot of my collection, my personal collection that I own came from dollar bins.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I started collecting, I was rummaging through quarter bins. Just to kind of.
That's when a quarter could buy you a Whopper. It could buy you a fries, a Frosty, and then you could still go to the movies after that, right, Tim?
You have no idea.
Yeah. All right, young man.
Tyler, I think, was born in an era where there was no such thing as landline.
Yeah.
It's all been cell phone for him.
No, I was born in 96. So I remember the landline.
Cell phones just started coming out.
They just started then at the huge, yeah. But I'm excited for I had a blast. I know we all had a blast at the last show, and I'm excited for the next one.
And it's going to be great because we're going to be among all our friends that also deal in comic books. So it's going to be a fun day hanging out with them, saying hello to everybody, and wishing them a great day. It's nothing but camaraderie. I've never really seen a whole lot of competition. It's all been, hey, I don't have that book, but that guy does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so cool always walking around the show. seeing what other people have, and just like it is a community, and there's no, like you said, animosity. There is nothing like that. It's like, yeah, everyone's there to, try to leave with less books than you came in with.
Mhm.
But we're all trying to have a good time too. And it was cool having, you guys all know we worked at a comic book store. And being a vendor at a show kind of felt like being at working at the comic book store again, being able to talk to
Mhm.
people and helping them out and all that. So that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep, definitely. We will also be bringing, I'll probably be bringing some toys along too. If there's space for it, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna bring the heat, fellas,
Yeah.
ladies.
Mhm.
So come and get it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
before we wrap up, we're getting into our tradition of asking a question at the end of every single episode as a general, getting to know one another and spreading some information to you guys. Last time we talked about our favorite movie theater snack. I thought, since we're talking about comic books and people getting into comics, buying newer comics or just comics in general, we talk a lot about collecting, but we haven't talked too much about reading and the actual content within the comics. So I was wondering if anyone could say, what is one story that you remember from a comic book that you would recommend to somebody? Hey, if you want to read a story, this is a good one to pick up and read.
For me, I'm gonna go back a little bit. You guys out there could probably find the story, whether it be like one of the facsimile issues or true believers issues. I'm not even sure if it's got to be out there, but it's probably my favorite story, which is the death of Gwen Stacy. What a fantastic read. That is just great. It is just heartbreaking. It's real. It feels emotional. It feels like you're there. It's so well done. So yeah, Death of Gwen Stacy, Amazing Spider-Man, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah, I was looking it up while you were talking just a minute. Yeah, number 121 through 122. Very
Yep,
cool.
yep.
And I'll say, and Lauren's a Spider-Man guy. I'm a Batman guy. And when I really started buying Batman books is around when DC's New 52 stuff was going on, and I'm really partial to the Scott Snyder Batman run. Are you doing a little show and tell for us, Lauren?
I am.
There we go.
Mhm.
That 121 right there.
Hard to
Yeah.
see with the glare.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
That's
I've
what the
got,
cover looks like, ladies and gentlemen. So go find yourself that story.
yeah. So Batman New 52, Scott Snyder, I really love his work. He's a great artist and also Greg Capullo, a great writer, then paired with Greg Capullo, great artist. But there were two arcs within it that I think are cool. Death of the Family, which is like Joker going after Batman, and it's just really creepy. He like cuts his face off and re-puts it on, and he
Mhm.
like kidnaps the whole Bat family and tries to convince Batman that they're making him weak and that Batman and Joker are this dynamic and everybody else is ruining it. It's creepy and it's a blast. And then there's another arc, Batman Zero Year, which is like Batman's origin, and it's a Riddler story too, which I love the Riddler. So I really recommend the entire Batman New 52 run. I really enjoyed it. And Tim, what about you? What's a story that you'd recommend to the fine people out there?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I've read a couple of really really awesome ones through the years, but I'm gonna go with the story that just pops up almost every single time that I'm asked this question, which is Kingdom Come.
Hmm.
I mean, this whole futuristic story about the DC heroes and what it's like with them aging. Superman gets older, Batman is like a crippled old old guy. He's got like these leg mechanical leg things going on, and he's got like mechanical bats, going around the city, patrolling and stuff for him. It's so good. And then as far as Marvel goes, I would say my favorite ones is probably World War Hulk.
Yep.
That was some great stuff. And Secret Invasion and Civil War.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All
Good
those
stuff for sure.
And a lot of those I know Civil War, others you can like get hardcovers of. You can get, you can find the entire collection of them. So I know we've heard in the past, I can't remember who said it. Maybe it was Shelton or somebody else said, if you want to buy a hardcover first, and then you're like, okay, I really like that. Now I'll go buy the individual issues and collect them. There's multiple ways to get these comics. And I think what's cool, we talk a whole lot about collecting, but I mean, comics, the point of them, they're we collect them and all that. We put them in slabs. That's great. But also the original purpose of them is to read them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is tons of great stories that have been written. There are tons of great stories currently being written, and I'm sure will be written in the future. So I hope you guys can, go out to your local comic book store if you don't already, subscribe, find what you like. There's tons of stuff out there. Tons of great artists. There's independent artists too, going back to how our Aaron Lepresti interview, how he was coming up with his Indiegogo campaign for his Wraith of God.
Which is out now, by the way.
Yes.
It's available for purchase, and he's shipping as we speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's tons of content out there. So I really hope you guys, in addition to collecting comics, just read them. There's cool art, cool stories, and they're called funny books for a reason.
It's a great way to escape from a lot of reality. You just dive into these books, and get carried away into these amazing, fun stories.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people have been reading these things since, Superman came out in like 1938, and ever since then people have loved superheroes. There's a reason people love these movies. It's appealing, and so buy comics.
Yeah.
And with that said, I know exactly how we should close this off, guys. Yay!
Comics.
Comics.
Yay!